Hey everyone, welcome back. So today is Wednesday and we're going to take a look at a couple of things here on today that's going on. So obviously we'll take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's actually up today and markets were actually down today, so that's kind of surprising, which is a good thing. We'll also take a look at the miners, see how they did today. It was a mixed bag. Some were up, some were down, but it wasn't too bad overall. And we also had the increase in difficulty in the Bitcoin network. So it's up 9.26%. Difficulty, we'll take a look at it, what it actually means for the miners, and are the miners going to be able to basically grow ahead of this possibly. So we'll take a look at that. And also BitDigital provided their quarterly results. We'll take a look at those pretty heavily in today's episode. We'll look at, see how they're doing, and we'll call it a day. I think that's it. That's all we got going on. So as always, not financial advice. You guys know the drill here. I'm investing in fund coins and companies, not financial advice. Do your own research for entertainment only, as always. And let's take a look at the market here really quick, and we'll get into the rest of the stuff here. So the market was obviously down today. S&P was down 0.78%. Dow Jones was down 0.75%. And the NASDAQ was down 0.56%. So it's fourth straight day in a row where the markets were down, which obviously isn't good. But luckily, Bitcoin is actually up today a little bit. So Bitcoin's up 2.25% right now at 20,258. Ethereum is up 3.67% to 1,580 right now. And looking at the daily chart right now on the Bitcoin, it's not looking bad right now. RSI is kind of peaking up here a little bit, creeping up to where it was prior to a lot higher point. So we still want to see that. We're probably going to have to see it go up and then have a price decline and then up again before we see that RSI fall down to where we're seeing a nice little bullish possibly run. On Ethereum, obviously Ethereum's at 1,581 right now. It is still looking pretty good. There's nothing to really complain about right now. Obviously we are down from where we were. But like I said, I think this might be just a little bit of a correction. Hopefully that's all it is. Hopefully we can sustain it. On Bitcoin, we've obviously bounced off of this support line of 19,500. Became pretty close. We didn't actually touch it, which is fine. But at least we're bouncing off of that line here. We've done it in the past. Looks like 3 days or so where we came close, bounced off of it, came close again, bounced off of it. So that's a good sign right now at least. All right, let's take a look at the other miners here, and then we'll look at some of the stories. So ANY was up 2.64% today to 63 cents. Argo was up 8.64% to 45 cents. BitDigital was up 1.37% to $1.48. Bitfarms was up 1.56% to $1.30. CleanSpark was up 0.23% to $4.28. Cores was up 0.46% to $2.20. DigiHost was down 7.03% to 87 cents. DMG was up 1.36% to 22 cents. Greenidge was down 2.02% to $2.43. Hive was up 4.09% to $5.09. And it's been going up pretty nicely the last couple of days, surprisingly. Hut 8 was down 0.49% to $2.03. Iris Energy was down substantially 14.16% to $4.06. And I think it might be because they postponed their earnings. And we'll take a look at that in a little bit here. Luxfolio was up 3.07% to basically 7 3/4 cents right now. Marathon was up 2.78% to $11.85. Mawson was up 1.64% to 71 cents. Riot was up 4.06% to $7.17. And Soluna was up 3.85% to $2.87. And Stronghold Digital was down 0.71% to $1.39. And that is it. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin difficulty here really quick. We'll talk about it a little bit. So you can see here the log scale on the right and the regular scale here on the left. So if we zoom in on it, right now it's on all. Let's go to 3 months on it. We can see that it has been obviously inching back up. So today we had a 9.26% increase on the difficulty in Bitcoin network. Over the lifespan pretty much of the chart here, we can see that we've pretty much, for the most part, had a couple of small little dips here, but we've been generally going up in difficulty as more miners get installed. And I think that's going to happen this time around. So this time around, we had a pretty sizable increase. 9.26% is not a small increase. Prior to that, we had a 0.63, a 1.74. And then prior to that, we had a couple of decreases here that equal to be about 8.76% decrease in 1.5 months. So all of these are basically every 2 weeks that these happen. And the miners obviously are going to have to at least grow their hash rate by at least 9% in order to make the same amount that they were making, or they need to go above that. Or the other thing is Bitcoin in price has to go up in value as well to offset the increase in difficulty as well. We're just going to go really quick over the miners here. I added a little chart to them, or a little snippet to them. So I added hash percent growth left that they have on them. As far as, let's go back to Argo. We'll start out with Argo. How much more growth do they have left in them until they get fully operationally installed with everything that they have on order? And with the way the difficulty is going and the miners are being installed, I think somewhere around 25 to 40% increase in the next 6 to 8 months, I think, is possible. I'm probably looking towards the lower side of it. I think closer to 25 probably. So, excuse me. So if we're looking at the miners here, at least in the 6 months out, some of these are not going to be installed anyways until possibly later on next year. But at least we can see that they are going to be growing, to see if they're going to be growing at least at 25% over the next 6 months. And I think most of them are, except there are a few exceptions here. So let's get into it. And I do apologize. I have allergies or something. My nose is just getting clogged up here. So Argo has still 67% left to go. They obviously have a lot of miners that are supposed to be getting installed in Q3 of this year. So we'll see how that plays out for them. But I think they're going to be fine here. Bit Digital still has about 154% left to go before they're fully operational with all their miners. And they're hopefully getting those installed here relatively quickly here. We're obviously waiting on more reports as far as when they're getting installed. We know what the miners they have, but it's just them finding hosting providers and getting those installed. So I think they're going to be okay. Bitfarms still has 97% growth left in them. If they can get it, most of their miners here are supposed to be coming in sometime at the end of this year. We're supposed to get quite a bit of them in, well, June those already came in, but we have December, obviously, all these miners here, August, September, October, November, December, still a substantial amount. So that's why I'm saying maybe those are going to go out into the next quarter of 2023 as well. CleanSpark has about 50% hash rate growth left in them. And we do have obviously some that are in September here, June, July, November, December. We still got plenty here that need to be installed. So if they can get those installed, I think they're going to be fine as well. Core Scientific has 57% left growth in them. And we still have obviously a bunch of miners that need to get installed here. And they are installing like crazy. So I think they're going to be able to possibly beat that 25% increase in difficulty if it happens. DigiHost, 91% growth left in them. They still have obviously quite a bit of miners left. We just don't know exactly when those are going to be coming in. But we do have it broken down here as far as when they are. So I think they might be okay. DMG has 65% left or 52% left growth in them. And we do have miners here that are supposed to be coming in October, November, December. That's obviously supposed to help them. And we still have miners here from this month or earlier this year that were supposed to get installed. So they should be okay as well. Greenidge is at 73% growth left, almost 74% left to go. And we do have obviously Q3 miners that are supposed to be coming in as well. With that, Q2 and Q3 as well. So we'll see how many of those that can get in here, but I think they can obviously get above the 25% possible increase in hash difficulty. Hive has only 74% left of its growth, which is still really good. They're at 2.2. They're looking to be about 4 exahash. So they still have quite a bit of miners here that need to get installed here, obviously, in October, November, December here. So I think they're going to be okay as well. And looking at Hut 8 has only 22% left of growth left. So that's a little concerning for them. They need to start reporting on something that they're going to be, buying or anything like that to keep up with the difficulty, or otherwise you're going to be making less unless Bitcoin goes up in price also. But if Bitcoin stagnates for the next 6 months or something like that, which it possibly could, they could be, making what they are now and possibly less. So they might be in trouble here. They don't have much left to install. They got a couple in November, December here that are still left, October possibly, that we don't have listed here in September. So they're getting close to being pretty fully operational on that. So Hut 8 is obviously a little bit concerning. Iris Energy still has a lot left to go. I know they reported 15 exahash, but I doubt they're going to get anywhere near that by the end of this year. Possibly at the end of next year, they might be closer to that. So as long as they can keep getting the miners installed and everything else, but they got a lot of miners here in Q3 still left, in Q4, and then obviously in 2023, they have a bunch of miners in Q1, Q2, and Q3 as well. So I think they should be okay as long as they can stay above the 25% growth for the next 6 months or so. Miner metrics, Marathon. Marathon has 498% growth left, roughly. So I think they're going to be fine. They do have a lot of miners that are coming in on September, October, November, and December. We'll see if they can get those. Obviously, supply chain issues for all the miners could be a contributing factor to them not getting there, but I think they'll be fine. Mawson is at 75% growth left. They should be fine. They got Q4 here as well. So they still have quite a bit of miners left to get installed. Oh, those were 21, sorry. So we do have, I think we're getting close to, what don't we have installed yet? July, so we still have about, what is that? 11,500 miners left to get installed, so still quite a bit. So I think they should be okay with that. That's Mawson. Riot's obviously going to be growing quite a bit still. They got about 200% left of growth in them. So as long as they can stay above the 25%, they should be fine. And they do have obviously a lot more miners getting in September, October, November, and December. These are the 140 terahash miners, and then they got a bunch of ones here as well. So they added more to that. And we do have some 90 terahash miners as well. Those are supposed to be in September, October as well. So I think they're going to be okay as long as they can get those in and installed and operating. And then Soluna we don't know exactly on Soluna. Soluna, I'm trying to get the data on them as far as how many miners they have on order or anything like that. We know how many miners they're supposed to get, but we just don't know when they're supposed to get them. Actually, I think I have them at 100% right now, so we're waiting to find out more details on them right now. So they obviously have to grow in advance of that. And Sphere 3D is the last one here. So they're supposed to grow about 5,900%. They are 100 petahash right now. Supposed to get to 6 exahash. They've been having trouble getting miners installed and energized. They've been operating at 100 petahash for the past 6-7 months, it looks like. So they might be in trouble if they can't figure this stuff out. But they do have obviously a lot of miners that are supposed to be coming in, back from May, June, July, all the way through December of this year. That would get them to the 6 exahash if they can pull it off. So I think they might be able to pull it off. They have obviously a lot of growth left in them, so I think they should be okay going forward. So that's it. I mean, the only ones that really are concerned is really Hut 8. And anybody else that's pretty much at 100%. DMG was at 52%. DigiHost still has about 91%. So those should be okay, at least for the next 6 to 8 months, I think. Okay, so that's the hash rate or difficulty on the miners really quick. Looking at them. And like I said, I think most of the miners will be okay as long as they can get the miners installed, energized. They should be okay with possibly 25 to 40% increase in difficulty over the next 6 to 8 months. All right, let's take a look at our main story here, which is two things really quickly. Iris Energy obviously was down quite a bit today. They provided yesterday that they will have a conference call and results posted on September 13th. So they're obviously delaying it. That's obviously not a good sign for some investors, and that's why the stock is down today. So we have to wait until September 13th to get the results. And that's the last miner that I covered that we're waiting on the information for anyways. Sorry about the pause in silence there. I had to clear out my throat a little bit along with my nose. If anybody has allergies, I think you can bear with me for just a little bit longer. All right, so that's it for Iris. Bit Digital really quick. They provided their results yesterday. I was waiting for the results to be published on the SEC's website. They finally were later on at night. I ran through all the data, edited to my sheet here, my spreadsheet, and we'll go over it here really quickly. A couple of things that I wanted to go over really quick was the operational highlights for the second quarter. So the company earned 197.28 Bitcoins and 104.29 Ethereum during the quarter. Factors obviously impacting production included the company's ongoing miner redeployment program, previously announced interruptions to certain hosting partners' operations, growth in the overall Bitcoin network, hash rate, and the number of days in the quarter. Treasury holdings of BTC and Ethereum were 860.57 and 313.56, with a fair market value of approximately 15.3 million and 0.3 million on June 30th of 2022, respectively. The company owned 38,135 Bitcoin miners and 731 Ethereum miners as of June 30th, 2022, with an estimated maximum total hash rate of 2.7 exahash and 3 terahash, respectively. Obviously, the Ethereum miners, they're going to probably move those over to another coin if we get the proof of stake transition happening for Ethereum in September. We'll obviously have to wait and monitor that, see how that's going to happen. But that's obviously going to be a crazy time for the miners that do have Ethereum miners. Hut 8, Hive, and some of the other guys, and along with Bit Digital. So in the second quarter, the company signed a hash rate swap agreement pursuant to which the company received miners rated at 0.625 exahash a second in exchange for miners at 0.5 exahash delivered from the company to the counterparty, a 25% boost in favor of the company, so that was obviously good. And then as of June 30th, 2022, the company had received the previously announced 10,000 unit miner purchase from Bitmain. The company currently has no outstanding payment obligations for miner purchases, so that's really good as well. So I just wanted to go over that really quick. And let's take a look at the numbers that I have for them, and we'll compare them to the previous quarter as well. Put all that data in for you guys. Okay, so looking at their numbers here, we can see that cash and cash equivalents was 44.2 million compared to 28, which is good. Restricted cash, about the same. Digital assets went down to 26.9 from 43.8, which obviously might be the reverse of what happened here. And I think maybe they sold some digital assets. Other current assets went up a little bit to 5.6 from 4.9, so that's fine. So overall, we're at 78.42 compared to 78.27 in the prior quarter. So a little bit of an increase here, about 150,000 or so, which is good. And then let's see what we got here. Total assets ended up at 279 million compared to 260 million. So that's a good increase there. The biggest thing that was property increased quite a bit by 289 million, almost 90 million from 28 million. So that obviously was good. Looking at the liabilities, accounts payable went down to 1.9, which is good. I didn't have any income tax payable, and other payables and incurred liabilities increased a little bit to 2.1 from almost 1 million here. So not too bad of an increase, but nonetheless was an increase. But total current liabilities decreased to 4 million from 4.8, so that's a good thing there. Total liabilities decreased a little bit to 7 million from 7.7 million, so that's also a good thing. We're looking at here total stockholders' equity. So that came down to 171 million from 161 million, so that's good. It actually increased. And total liabilities and stockholder equity increased to 178 million from 169 million, so that's good as well. Revenue did not increase from the prior period. So we were at 6.8 this reported period, and they were at 8.5 on the previous one. So a little bit of a decrease, but nonetheless, we know that the majority of the miners had a hard time beating their previous quarter revenue. There were only a couple, I think maybe 3 or 4 that were able to do it. So congrats to those that were able to do it, but it's kind of expected to be down for this quarter. Let's take a look, see what else we got here. Cost of revenue went down to 3.8 from 4.2, so that's good. Depreciation and amortization went up to 5.3 from 3.7, 3.8. So that wasn't good. Well, that's depreciation is what it is. General and administrative expenses went up just a little bit to almost 4.6 from 4.27. So a little bit of an increase. That's not too bad. Cost of revenue was at 3.5 compared to 12.3. So a little bit of an increase there. And gross profit minus depreciation percentage was 50.2 for the previous quarter and 47 for this quarter. So not too bad. Some of the other miners were actually down a little bit more than this. Had a wider spread on it. Operating expenses. So realized gain, loss on exchange or digital assets was 2 million compared to 1.6. Impairment of digital assets was 13 million from 10 million. What else do we have on here? Other expenses was down 20 from 570. So that's actually pretty good. So operating income, so total other expenses was 10.2 compared to 7.6. So that's obviously not good. It was up a little bit. Operating income loss was 16.9 from 11.5. So that wasn't good also, but it wasn't too bad. And then net income before tax was negative 18 compared to negative 10. And that's mostly probably attributable to some of the depreciation here, at least a portion of it was. Some of the other big things was the impairment of digital assets was a big one, 13 compared to 10 on it. And that was about it. Those two probably contributed the most. So basic and diluted net share loss was negative 23 cents compared to negative 15. Not too bad. And then slight dilution here. So about 10 million shares were diluted in the quarter, 79.5 million compared to 69.6 million in the previous quarter reported. So looking at the minor comparison, we were looking at Bit Digital here. We can see that obviously the ratios were pretty good, 19.14 for the current ratio, which takes the total current assets and divides it by the total current liabilities. So they have basically enough cash on hand to pay that off 19 times over, which is good. Debt to equity ratio is 0.041, which is really low as well, so that's good. And they have about 71 million left over if they paid off all their current total liabilities. So they're doing fine there. There's no concerns for us with that. Bit Digital, going back here and going up top, we can see that in the previous quarter, they were mining about 389 BTC per exahash. This quarter, they were at 302 per exahash. We've obviously seen the hash rate go up a little bit. Difficulty also increase a little bit. Went decrease and increase. It's been kind of all over the place, but it's going back up, obviously, like we talked about earlier. And then debt to equity and current ratio, we already covered that. Cost to mine 1 BTC minus depreciation was 21.9 million. The previous quarter, it's down to 18.17. So that's actually a good sign there. And then going back up here to my numbers, I was off on them by 10%. So I had them at 6.1 million. They came in at 6.8. So that's 10.6% difference on that. And like I've said before, this is basically because I'm using the end of, or was using the end of the month Bitcoin price, where they're using the daily Bitcoin price and, selling or reporting as being sold for those coins, or what the revenue would have been. So there's a difference on that. Going forward, I'm going to try and use the average Bitcoin price for the month and see if that gets us a little bit closer to our goal of 2.5% off being off or better. So looking at the last 3 quarters, we're now using the numbers there. That got us to 28.8 million. And then this current quarter, we're looking at about 8.8 million possibly. Depending on where Bitcoin ends up, how many miners they get installed and everything else, what they actually mine in August and September. We could be closer to maybe 10 million on that, but we'll have to see once the numbers come in. Right now, it's just an estimate. And if we're using the 50% net income to gross revenue, using the PE of 20, we're looking at a stock price of $4.58. If we're using 75% net income from gross revenue and PE of 20, we're looking at $6.86. Stock is at $1.48 right now. Once Bitcoin starts going back up, I think they can possibly get to 20 PE. Even if we're taking 15 PE, just to be a little bit conservative, we're looking at $3.43 at 50%. And 75%, we're looking at $5.15, so somewhere around there. So I still think that they are quite a bit undervalued, just as the rest of the miners are. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And we'll see what happens next during the week. Right now, I don't think there's any new reporting that's going to be happening this week. We talked about Iris. Iris is going to be reporting in 2 weeks. So we'll wait for that to come out. And we'll see what happens this week. We got Thursday and Friday left over, and we'll see if there's any new stories to cover. If there are, I'll have a video up for you guys. So if you did enjoy the video, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. The spreadsheet is available to my Patreon members. Thank you to all those folks over there for their support. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button. I'll see you guys in the next one.